Welcome back, everyone. Glad to have you back on the show. Today, we're going to start off with just a simple conversation that I know every basketball fan, NBA fan will always talk about. Who's the better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James? Now, personally, I'm not going to say who's better. You can't really determine something like that. There's no formula to really determining something like that. Yes, some people will say, well, Michael Jordan got 6 rings. He's the number one player. Listen, if that's what you're gonna go by, fair enough. In 14 seasons, he got 6 rings. All right, fair enough. He was one of the best players, one of the best all-around players ever to play the game. Agreed. And I've always been a major Michael Jordan fan. And coming from a person that's not really a big LeBron fan, I cannot put that much shadow over him. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, even though he likes to hop around teams and maybe he's not that loyal, he is a statistics monster. All right? And just based on that, I really don't think that we could decide between the two. Yeah, you guys will always have that argument. I always have that argument. I already recently had that argument between me and my buddies. And one of my buddies actually stuck out and said, there's no real formula for determining some such thing. And he was absolutely right. Everyone, this is Mike, presenting to you another episode of Everyone Wants to Be Like Mike, presented by Notorious Radio 718. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow all our social media outlets, like, share. We love you. Thank you for watching, and I really appreciate all the feedback. Getting back into what I wanted to talk about. Now, LeBron is about to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the all-time scoring record. Now, that is a major feat, okay? Now, we're talking about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had 38,387 points in his career. LeBron James is at 37,062 right now. By the end of this year, and to be honest with you, if you would have counted all the summer games, this and that, LeBron probably would have been already that number one player, right? LeBron is about to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar this year, in my personal opinion, right? The guy is absolute beast. Okay, there's no just arguing that. All right, he's still 37 years old. I agreed. He's 37 years old. He's not gonna be but he's still gonna be putting up those 225 points a game. He's gonna be putting up those 8 assists, maybe a couple of rebounds, next to Anthony Davis, this and that. But at the end of the day, he's still going to be one of the best players in the game, all right? And that is why I'm never, ever going to get ever into that argument, because there's no formula of deciding who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron. Because you know what? Michael Jordan was the best of his era and the best of all time, arguably. The same thing goes for LeBron. He is the best of his era, and he's arguably one of the best players, and there's arguments for each side, all right? Moving on. All right, I want to talk about the World Cup qualifiers. And I know that maybe a lot of people don't watch the World Cup qualifiers. And I watch, when major basketball NBA players are playing. And you know what? I really wanted to watch that Serbia versus Greece qualifier, man. Wow. I got to say, in 4 quarters and overtime, man, that was one of the best games I have ever seen. Two of the best players in the league going at it. We're talking about my man, the Joker, all right? And we're talking about the Greek Freak. Two of my favorite players to obviously play the game, all right? I've said it before. Giannis, amazing. Completely amazing. 40 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals on 56% shooting, getting held by Jokic, right? That is absolutely crazy. I mean, yes, Greece did lose in overtime, 94 to 100, all right? But Giannis is putting up such crazy numbers. Like, the kid is just undeniably, I gotta say, we just spoke about it recently, all right? If he gets his next ring, he's gonna be in the conversation of one of the best players in the game, all right? Steph Curry's now in that conversation, and I think the Greek Freak will be there very soon as well, all right? The Joker, 29 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal on 68.8% shooting. The guy was shooting basically 7%, 70%. That's absolutely insane, all right? Going up against the Greek Freak. And the Greek Freak is an amazing player. Got Defensive Player of the Year award at the same time he got MVP award, all right? And also one of the very few players that could ever do that, okay? And Jokic was putting on a show. I mean, spin around looks, the way that he spread the floor. I mean, in my personal opinion, a lot of people talk about Steph. A lot of people talk about LeBron James. They talk about even Giannis, all right? And they put Giannis in the conversation, but nobody really talks too much about Jokic, all right? Nikola is an amazing player. All right, there's a reason why he's the number one pick in every single draft for the last 2 years, and probably going to be the same in this upcoming season, fantasy season as well. Right, the guy is an amazing all-around player. Now, nonetheless, he's a center. Right, find me a center that could put up a triple-double a game constantly, who could spread the floor the way he does, get open shots for his wings. Like, the guy is absolutely amazing. So I got to give him there. All right. And to say a little bit, since we're on the conversation when we're talking about Jokic, I just want to say in general that the Nuggets, all right, this year are going to be a force to reckon with. All right. Jamal Murray, KCP, Michael Porter Jr., who, all right, just practicing is making 27 out of 28 three-pointers, okay, in one setting. That's absolutely insane. So he's obviously been playing and been getting training and absolutely working out to get it back into the season this year. So I think with MPJ, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon at the 4, and Jokic at the 5, I think that team is going to be pretty hard, really hard to beat. They're going to be, like I said, a force to reckon with, you know? All right, moving on. All right. Now I want to talk about Jason Tatum real quick. He disclosed after after the whole playoffs, after basically the whole summer, he discloses that he he had been playing in the NBA playoffs with a fractured wrist. All right. Uh, if that doesn't turn your heads, I don't know what will. He was aware of it and didn't tell anybody. And the kid, and that could explain a lot of his efficiency issues this past year. You know what I mean? And well, in the playoffs, maybe it was happened a little bit before. He doesn't know exactly when it happened, and none of us really do. But he played in the NBA Finals with that fractured wrist. Right now, let's say he didn't have a fractured wrist. Would that make the difference between winning and losing against the Golden State Warriors? It's possible. Jason Tatum was really encouraged about a win this year, and he was saying that, they thought they had a real shot, and I really think so. I really think they did too, you know? I mean, the team that they built around him and Jaylen Brown, I think, is pretty amazing, with Rob Williams there, all right, with Marcus Smart there, Al Horford being the veteran to lead the squad, to show him how everything needs to be done, all right? I think that team has a lot of spectacular moments ahead, and I think Jason Tatum himself is also going to be a top 5 player to come for years on end. Moving on to another amazing player. We're talking about Tyrese Halliburton, all right, and how he got traded from the Kings and what he did with that and what he did on the Kings, all right? Being drafted by the Kings, all right? He was really hoping that he was going to finish there, you know? Like, he wanted to stay with the team. He wanted to be one of those players that stuck with one team all his life. He even said it. He was disappointed, okay? So they first told him they would never trade him, then they traded him in the end, all right? Now, look, all right? They had already De'Aaron Fox on the team, right? And honestly, Tyrese Halliburton, he made De'Aaron Fox look like he didn't even matter, right? De'Aaron Fox was an amazing player the year before last year, and Tyrese Halliburton came in and just overshadowed him. He made him look. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton is amazing, amazing. That kid has so much potential. It is unbelievable. I would not be in complete surprise if he hits top 20 value this year on the Pacers, being that he's probably going to be the focal point of the team. All right, and not to mention everything is going to be surrounded by him. He's going to be running the ball. He's going to be doing pretty much everything. The statistics on that kid, I think they're just going to blow up. All right, and maybe that will also give him some efficiency issues because he'll have the ball so much in his hand. But wow, the opportunity that he has over there is absolutely insane. All right, and I can't wait to see what he could do. All right, and to be honest, that team is going to be very young. They got Isaiah Jackson over there. They got Smith, all right? They got Goga. All right, now, who are they going to be playing at center this year? We know it's probably going to be Goga like they did last year, right? Who are they going to be playing power forward? It's probably going to be Smith. I don't know. I was hoping for Isaiah, but at the end of the day, I'm not the coach and I'm not the one that's making the calls. All right. So I also want to see how that all falls out. Now, let's talk about the Kings real quick and the Kings organization. All right. The Aaron Fox, they got, all right, they have great players, and I mean, I can't argue with that. They picked up Domantas Sabonis, all right, great player, one of my favorite players, all centers in the league, also amazing, all-around player in general. But again, you know, I just don't see where they're going with all this. I don't see the Kings really, making the playoffs. I just, a lot of the things that they're doing over there just doesn't really make sense to me, and a lot of people feel the same exact way. So, I'm glad I'm not the only one. All right, let's talk about Udonis Haslem's big return to the Miami Heat. Okay? Now, that's amazing. My man's about to have his 20th season. There's only two other players that had that many seasons with one team. We're talking about Kobe Bryant, 20 seasons with the Lakers, and we're talking about Dirk Nowitzki, 21 seasons with the Mavericks, right? But Udonis Haslem is no Kobe, and definitely no he's definitely no Nowitzki. All right. So at the end of the day, let's think about what this is going to be like. Out of all the years that he's played, he sat 651 games, which is equivalent to 8 years. So 8 years out of 19, he either sat on the bench, all right, or got a couple of minutes in. That's absolutely ridiculous. Why is he getting signed for 1 year? Maybe he wants to retire there. I think that personally is the reason why. But to take him for the whole entire season and have him sit on the bench again also doesn't make any sense to me. But it's his 20th year, and I mean, you got to give it to the guy. I mean, he loves basketball and he wants to play. I don't really see him doing that, but listen, I mean, it's nice to see an older guy actually trying to do what he loves to do. I want to talk about Jamal Crawford's crossover pro-am games. All right. I just want to say thank you to Jamal Crawford in general, and I think that all the people of Seattle should be saying thank you to him as well too. All right. The guy now Seattle is, let me start off with this, is a basketball hotspot. Everybody there, it's a basketball city. Everybody there loves basketball. Right? After the Supersonics left, right, got sold. It was pretty unfortunate, obviously, the situation that they were in, and everybody understands why. But that city loves the game. Did you see the line that was outside? Okay, for LeBron, just because LeBron James was going to come to the building, right? It was absolutely insane. LeBron James, Jason Tatum, DeJounte Murray, Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, and we'll get into Chet Holmgren's injury a little bit later. Yes, I know everybody's going to criticize me on that, all right? But moving on, and the way that Jamal Crawford set everything up, got all these amazing players to come and show love to the city and show them that the basketball is not dead over there. I mean, it's really, really great for the city. It's great for the people of Seattle and great for the people of Washington. And I think they really deserve a team. All right. So if they do get one, a lot of that is going to be due to the efforts of Jamal Crawford. That is for sure. All right. So let's talk about the game where Jason Tatum and LeBron, the game, well, that got canceled after the first quarter, but nonetheless, LeBron, Jason Tatum, DeJounte Murray went up against the youngins, Paolo Banchero, all right? He went against Chet Holmgren, Beauchamp, Easton, and Aaron Gordon ended up switching teams, all right, at the end. Now, I had so much hope for Chet Holmgren, man. I really did. That kid showed so much potential, and, to see him go down in a pro-am game, in a summer league game, it's just sad. I mean, I hope he gets better fast, and I know that he's going to miss the 2023 season, and it's very unfortunate. But nonetheless, my theory still stands. All right. Yes, he won't be the #1 rookie this year. I get it. But out of this draft class, I really, really think he's going to pick it up. I really don't think a lot of people are comparing him to Kristaps Porzingis and that he's not as durable. That's a conversation for later, and we'll figure that out. But I have hopes in the kid, and I'm hoping he's going to do well. So let's talk about that game real quick. Jason Tatum and LeBron James playing together. That was an amazing sight. All right, they played amazing together. The plays that they were putting out, LeBron James doing his thing, Jason Tatum doing his thing. All right, and DeJounte Murray also amazingly facilitating absolutely everything that was going on in the game. Now, I want to talk about this DeJounte Murray Powell Banchero, beef that everybody's talking about. All right, I really don't see any beef really going on anymore. Yeah, I think it was more of a, like basketball, like, let's. I think it's just more of a basketball dirty talk. You got to get at each other. That's fine. But at the end of the day, did you see how Powell Banchero, he ended up just basically falling flat at running while he was running in on DeJounte Murray, and it looked like he got a little bit hurt. DeJounte Murray helped him up right away, and that's true sportsmanship. That's what I like to see. No matter what, all right? At the end of the day, you don't like somebody, it does not matter. This game is about sportsmanship, all right? Showing the love for the game, showing how the love for the players, and it's very, very simple, all right? It's really, really nice to see players like LeBron James and Jason Tatum, the best players in the world at the moment, who will actually show up to summer league games, all right? That it became like absolutely, non-existent in the last few years, and that's actually really sad because these players, they come up, they play amazingly in college, they try their hardest, they put their heart into it, everything, but after 10 years of being in the NBA, that's it. Like, they're getting paid so much money and they're done. But I don't think that's what it's about. I think you should always have that love for the game. You should show your fans that your love for the game. And I really, really respect the players for coming out to Seattle and playing the way they did and showing the world that, you know what, yeah, the NBA is more important. We're talking about rings and we're talking about championships, blah, 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 but it's also important to show your love for the game. At the end of the day, we all started playing basketball because we love it, not because you're getting paid for it. So I want to move on real quick and talk about a couple of free agents. So let's talk about Colin Sexton real quick. What's going to happen with Colin Sexton? Still not on the team, all right? And I don't really understand why he hasn't really gotten a contract yet. There's not really much buzz going around talking about him, but I really wonder if he's going to get it on the team at all, or if there's something going on with him, or whatever the case may be. But I honestly see him doing well. He was an amazing player before he got injured, and I would draft him. Like people are saying that he's, irrelevant now. How? That doesn't make any sense. He was playing amazing next to Darius Garland, all right? And Darius Garland is arguably going to be one of the best point guards in the league. And if not one of the best point guards in the league right now, probably a top 20, top 30 asset in fantasy basketball. And to be able to put up 20 points, 17 to 20 points a game next to a player like that, that's pretty amazing. Not to mention, they have a full roster and they look great. All right. I want to talk about the Clippers real quick. All right. We're talking about John Wall getting back in the game, who hasn't played for what, 2 years, 3 years? Say 2 years, 3 years, or whatever the case may be. And we're talking about now Reggie Jackson, obviously amazing player, always been. He's also been one of my, I'm not saying favorite players, but I'm just saying I respect his game because he really does love the game. He knows he's a true, like, type guard. That's what I like about him. He never really wavers in his proficiencies. All right, we got PG, who had a bit of an off season, was kind of all over the place last year, and we'll see what happens. He was playing better the year before next to Kawhi, to be honest. And we're talking about Kawhi, who's going to be playing next to PG, who's going to be playing next to John Wall, all right? And how is that all going to work out? Me personally, I understand, like, we're talking about PG and with PG and Kawhi, two players who are definitely in the top 15 range when you're drafting fantasy basketball. But would you draft them in the top 15? With everything going on, because I see Kawhi maybe playing tops 60 games this year. He's gonna be sitting back to backs in my personal playing, and I think they're gonna be like, it's gonna be like a revolving door between him and Paul George. They're both gonna be older already. They're both gonna be getting, conditioning and all this stuff. So is it worth it? They'll put up that top 15, top 20 value, top even 10 value in the games that they do play, of course, but would I draft? And then it becomes difficult when you get to the 9s, 10s, 11s in the draft process this year, and we'll get more into that in another episode. All right. So, and then they got Zubac at the center. So we're talking about the Clippers right now, and I think the Clippers are going to be showing some some rebirth this year, in my personal opinion, and I hope they do well. You know, they deserve it, and they've been working hard at it, and I really like with the team and where it's going. All right, I want to talk about lastly how the Lakers were trying to go after Dennis Schroeder. They tried to go after Kyrie, and they ended up getting my man Patrick Beverley. All right. Now, Patrick Beverley has always wanted to play beside LeBron James. He said it. Okay, LeBron James, I personally think, is better off with somebody like Patrick Beverley than Westbrook. All right. But today it was announced, obviously, that Westbrook and Beverley will be staying with the Lakers. They will be playing together. So we'll see how that lineup all works out. I'm really not sure, but it's going to be very interesting.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man.
It's going to be very, very, very interesting to see. All right. Patrick Beverley is a good facilitator. I think he's great for LeBron James. I think he's great for Anthony Davis. And I think that, you know what? Patrick Beverley might not be the best point guard. He might not be there, but he's a great role player. He's the role player that you want there. He's an experienced veteran, which what they need right now. Okay. They want the ring. They need the ring. LeBron James is coming up to probably to his second or third to last year. You know, it makes sense at the end of the day, and I really am glad to see Patrick Beverley there. And there was this beef that was going on between Patrick Beverley, or he didn't like Westbrook, about all this stuff. I don't really know where all that came from, but it seems like everything is fine within the Lakers organization, and they're making moves, and I'm really glad to see that maybe LeBron James is going to get that next ring. And again, back to the conversation, who's better, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, blah, blah, blah. All right, LeBron James has played 1,366 games in his career, all right? And he's about to be the #1 scorer of all time, all right? Those are also amazing feats. Yes, he doesn't have 6 rings, but Michael Jordan also is not the all-time scorer, not going to be the all-time scorer. And yeah, so there's so many arguments to both sides, you know? Just throwing it back in there. All right, once again, everyone, thank you for watching us. Thank you for showing the love. And please subscribe once again to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media outlets. Thank you so much and have a great day.